Hey Terrosphere, it's Holly from Cape Cod Creatures, and I am here today with I am like super excited. I've got ants in my pants excitement about this. Okay, so a little preface or preface, however you decide to, tomato, tomato, however you like to pronounce it. I don't know how many of you are in my generation, but I think like a lot of us can recall, it was a series of books in the late 80s, not like mid to late 80s, early 90s. Called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And the artist that so they were just like basically like urban legends combined into a bunch of like anthologies. And there were several of them. There's like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. There was more Scary Stories 3, Tales to Chill Your Bones. But they were short, short or urban legend short stories, and they had the most terrifying, like almost couldn't look at them, especially when you're young, illustrations. Oh my God. Like stuff of nightmares. And I ate them up with a spoon. I loved those stories so much. Those and R.L. Stine novels. I was probably too young to be reading R.L. Stine when I was reading R.L. Stine, but I just loved that stuff. I was also like super into Stephen King and Edward Gorey. And I actually remember one time I had to talk to the guidance counselor because we had to memorize a poem and recite it in English class. And I memorized the Gashly Crumb Tinies. And if you're not familiar with it, look it up and realize why I had to go talk to the guidance counselor. You could not get away with that today in today's environment, but I was a creepy kid. It's just kind of the way it is. My mom, especially, props go to my mom for raising such a creeper. Really awesome. Thank you for letting me be a creeper and for, actually she like kind of was just like, here's these Edward Gorey books. You're 10. And I was just like, yay! So I've always been kind of a weirdo, and I like Anne Rice. I was like reading Anne Rice in 5th grade for whatever reason. Like, in school we're reading Where the Red Fern Grows, and I'm just like, I just read this book about vampires who eat their parents' brains. And my teacher was just like, what is even going on in your life? And I was just like, I love scary things. So yeah, it was amazing. But also, conversely, I couldn't watch I call it like the library ghost turn into like the scary skeleton mask when like on Ghostbusters. That took me years to watch. Weird. Apparently I'm very choosy about my scary things. But oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, I heard about this deck, and as soon as I heard about it, I was just like, shut up and take my money. I need this to live. And it is called the Ritual Abuse Tarot by Ryan Sheffield, who's not the original illustrator of the Scary Stories books, by the way. I thought he was. I forgot, actually, like, honestly, it's been so many years since I've owned a Scary Story book that I forgot that was actually Stephen Gamble who illustrated those books. And then the Ritual Abuse Tarot, I don't know, like, in my school it was, I don't know, at least in my elementary school, this actually wound up happening, but I don't know how many people, and it was like, once I started reading about it, I was like, oh yeah, like, is that why? But in the late 80s, there was, it was called a ritual abuse scare, where everybody was just like, children are being sacrificed to Satan, and that's what's going on. And I don't know if you guys, like, my generation, I don't know if you remember it, but like, we were like, we were just starting to be able to like remember, like, what's going on. And like, whatever is when that started happening. But it was like Satanism, like satanic practices was in the news a lot. And then this series of books, which I absolutely loved, and thank goodness my mom bought them for me because she's amazing. But thank goodness, because I remember the library, and it was not just my school, but it was a bunch of schools. The books were banned from school libraries, which is just like, why are you banning books? I don't know. Like, it was, I hate when books are banned, even if the books are written about stuff that I don't necessarily agree with. There was no, like, don't ban books. Let people make their own decisions and trust that, greater good will prevail. But like, it's just urban legends. But people were just like, no, these books are satanic, ridiculous. And it's like, no, they're not. They're just for creepy kids who love to be scared. Like, just let us have them. But anyway, this artist, Ryan Sheffield, decided to create this tarot deck in homage to Mr. Gamble, and it's such a beautiful deck. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So it's called the Ritual Abuse Tarot after the Ritual Abuse Scare. So right away, awesome sauce, we love it. Reminding us all that banning books is bad. You know, it's bad. It's so bad. I'm so disappointed in my school. I just remember being like, why can't I get these books anymore? And then the librarian skirting the questions and being like, why do you even want to read them, you weirdo? Here's Babysitter's Club. And I was just like, I'll take the one about the haunting. And it was because there was one Babysitter's Club that was supposedly about a ghost and then turned out not to be about a ghost. And then I was like really mad. It was kind of like very Scooby-Doo. Like, I would have gotten it away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. And I was just like, lame. But anyway, this deck, it came no frills. Came in one of these mailers. Actually, it arrived pretty promptly. I ordered it like beginning of the week, so it's only Thursday. I already have it. And then it was wrapped in this bubble wrap, so it came nice and safe. And then it arrived in this amazing tin. So I love that the deck comes in a tin. This is actually the first deck that I've ever owned that is tin bound. I know that a lot of people actually prefer tin decks and they kind of go crazy gaga for them. I have yet to figure out why, because sometimes boxes are so good, but sometimes tins are good too. I don't know. Like, I love that this deck has its own little vault because it does have that special extra cool nostalgia aspect for me. But I could take or leave a tin, and it's like 1,000 degrees in here right now, so I'm like, so that's kind of nice. Although I should probably stop getting my like face oils and stuff all over it if I want to keep it nice, because this is just a sticker on top of a silver tin. But this is the first, and maybe I'm not going to say last, but for probably, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to buy tin packaged decks. Mostly I find them to be smaller, and I like tarot decks to be tarot deck sized. But anywho, you open it up, just comes right off. And inside you get this little white book, which is really cool. It's no frills at all. It's got a little thing in the beginning about, I actually really like this. I like this artist, the way he speaks, or the way he writes, I should say. He's very down to earth and very upfront. I can connect with it really well. So, yep, he's just like, yeah, when I started drawing this, I didn't know anything about tarot. And I like people that admit that. Because some artists are just like, oh, I got super proficient and I became an expert in tarot and I knew all about tarot, and like, but then you go and you look at their decks and you're like, bitch, no, you didn't. Like, you didn't know what was going on. But I like how he kind of admits right up front. He's like, I didn't really know that much about it when I decided to do this project. And then he kind of goes on into like a little bit about it. It's like a page and a half, and it's like teeny tiny page and a half. It's not a big deal. And then you get card meanings and reversal meanings as well. And it's just, for this style of deck, I like that it's not very wordsy. It's like, there it is. You get some keywords, you get some reverse meaning keywords, and there you go. And then towards the end, he gives you a little spread. Yeah, like, I think this book is like maybe a whole, yeah, it's a whole 21 pages long. At the end, he gives you the spread. It's the Celtic Cross. Everybody's most loved, hated spread. And so he puts a little spin on it. He calls it reading the entrails, which I think is really funny. Especially if you grew up with the Scary Stories books. Like, you just kind of like, you're like, like something about it you just really enjoy. And then at the end of the thing, I'm actually going to read it to you because it's very sweet. He does a dedication to Stephen Gamble. And it says, written and illustrated by Ryan Sheffield, this tarot deck is lovingly dedicated to Stephen Gamble, an incredible artist who terrified and captivated an entire generation of kids with his unforgettable illustrations. While the artwork in this deck is my own creation, the style of drawing I used is uniquely his, and I do not claim credit for it. I emulate it only with the utmost respect and admiration for a true master of his craft. This is an homage and a thank you for all of the inspiration and the nightmares and the ridiculous ritual abuse panic of the 80s and 90s resulted in the widespread banning of books containing Gamel's art. If my school had banned them, I cannot tell you how much different my life and artwork would have been. The title of this deck is dedicated to the book banners of the world. You will never win. Oh, I just want to give this guy a big hug, like single tear. My eyes are watering up. Like, I love, like, oh God, I just want to give this guy like a big ginormous bear hug and tell him thank you for creating this deck. Awesome. I just like, it never, and it's just so, I feel like such an idiot. It never occurred to me, like, this is how naive I was when I was younger, and how naive I can still be too. Like, it just never, I remember those books like drying up and my mom having to buy them for me instead of being able to buy them from the library. And we didn't grow up with a lot of money, so the fact that my mom, she didn't spend tons of money on lots of things, but she did spend, she would buy any book that I asked for. So, you know, props to mom. And like the fact that my mom went and bought me those books, and probably my thinking back on it, my grandparents and aunts and uncles probably had a hand in it too. But, like, I am so appreciative. They were such a big part of my childhood, and they're just so great. And I'm going to have to like run to like a whole bunch of used bookstores and whatnot, and I'm going to scavenge as many as I possibly can now. But I mean, I was so naive and young. Like, who would think that books would even be banned? I mean, it just, you know, like, that didn't even come across as an option, like, as to why the books weren't there. Like, honestly, even that young, my mind went to like budget cuts. Like, or somebody, like some kid borrowed the book and never returned it, and they just never replaced it. Like, it never occurred to me that the book was kicked out of my school, which is really depressing. But anyway, more importantly, to this deck, I love that this deck is a big F you to those assholes. But anyway, so this has skyrocketed immediately to my top 10, by the way. But the deck is fantastic. I mean, look at that fool. He is so creepy and scary, and his bindle, instead of being, because yes, that is what that is called, by the way. That bag on a stick is called a bindle. Because I needed to know what it was called, so I looked it up. His bindle is eyeballs. I love it so much. The magician is so creepy. I mean, just everything about this. This high priestess just rocks my socks off. I love everything about this deck. The emperor, oh, so creepy. Like Rat King, like that, just completely what that reminds me of. You've got the Hierophant. Oh my God, lovers. Can we even right now with that? Like, what is even going on there? There's a hand. I know it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting in here, but look, there's an arm attached to nothing, and then like she's holding it. Oh, so creepy. Or she or he. It's actually very androgynous. You've got the Chariot. Strength. Oh, I love this strength card. I love everything about this deck right now. I'm so excited. The Hermit. Wheel of Fortune, Justice. I mean, so definitely not, unless you have creepy kids, definitely not a deck for kids. Unless you have creepy kids, in which case go ahead. Like, if you had kids that were like me when I was little, then yes, this is a deck for your children. But oh my goodness, I love everything about this deck right now. This Devil card is actually, I love this Devil card. I would put this Devil card in other decks. It's got such creepy, I don't know if you could see that, but like, look, he's holding a person by the, like, it's just such effective devil imagery. The Tower, you've got, the Star, the Moon, oh my God, the sun, oh my God, the sun, just, oh, look at that. Oh my God, she's hanging out of the window. The Star, the Moon. Oh, can we talk about how creepy this moon is? I love it. This one's going to be hard for me to look at. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if any of you grew up watching the Real Ghostbusters cartoon, but it kind of looks like Sam Hain, like that pumpkin-faced creepy thing. But like, oh my God, ooh, oh my God, the sun, oh my God, the sun, just, oh, look at that, oh my God, it just creeped me out. I love it. I love that I'm getting creeped out flipping through this for the first time. Like, this Judgment card, come on. The World. This is actually very similar to the woman that had the spider thing on her face that like oozed out. I don't know if you guys remember the books, but there was one story about a woman who like she had like some weird like zit on her face and was like, that's so weird. And the doctors were like, yeah, you're right, that's totally weird. We have no idea what's going on. And then she like was so, and then like it popped and spiders came out of it because spiders laid eggs in her face. Which like totally, I had a hard time sleeping after that. Especially when I saw, like, I cannot, like, to this day, no spiders are allowed in my bedroom. The Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Cups. So this deck clearly is organized by aces. And you know what? I'm not going to flip through all of them just because this is a deck you need to discover on your own. And I am totally going to flip through this later. Oh my god, look at the Batty Bat. So good. I mean, like, it's, can we talk about this Three of Pentacles right now? I love this deck. Just everything about it. The Four of Wands, that to me is just like the best. If I was pulling up to a creepy, like, haunted house like that, like, yes! Like, I just love everything about this deck. It deserves a hearty yes. Let's see what we got going on for... Ooh, the Five of Swords. Oh god, so creepy. I love everything about it. It just like, I just love this deck so much. And I am disappointed in myself that I only discovered it just now. I could have been working with it the whole time, you guys. But yeah, let's see what they got for the court cards. All right, so we've got Page of Pentacles. We've got Page of, oh no, gross. Page of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Knights, I don't think are going to be as creepy. Yeah, I'm not as creeped out by the Knights. Oh, that one's kind of gross. Oh my god! And oh my god, I just absolutely love it. The Queen, I mean, come on. How do you not love that? Look at that, like the Queen of Pentacles, and you've got like a little devil figure in the background. And the pentacles are inverted in this, you guys, because you got to make it extra spooky. Oh, the King of Pentacles. Gross! He's a decapitated head. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, I just got creeped out again. The King of Wands. Look at that. That is so grody. I love this deck so much. All right, so, oh, and there's also 2 blank cards in here. I guess you can put whatever you want on there. What I'll probably wind up doing is printing out. I'm gonna, like, it's for personal use, right? So it's fine. I'm gonna find my 2 favorite Stephen Gamble illustrations. I'm gonna print them out on this and have them be bonus cards. Just because I absolutely love this deck and those books. I can't help but sing it. And thank you for you guys for putting up with my ridiculous, like, ants in the pants excitement about this. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but I'm not, like, one to really shout my excitement to the rooftops. So the fact that I've got this much movement going on should say something to you guys about how much I am excited about this deck. So let's talk back of deck. The back is just this like arrowy image, which is, you know, it's good for, well, I mean, you know, this little doodad right here is kind of the giveaway for whether or not the deck is upside down. Otherwise, I mean, unless you really have that memorized, telling reversals is going to be a little bit hard. It's got kind of like a linen, like a bicycle playing card kind of a feel. Not linen, linen's the wrong word, but it's textured. Like it feels like woven. Like I said, it's like if you picked up a pack of playing cards somewhere, it's kind of what it feels like. And I'm sure that means it's going to rifle like a dream. And it's pretty much standard tarot card size, maybe like a wee bit smidgy smaller. Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys. It rifles so good. It rifles so good. Like I can't even. This deck is so good. We're going to do a 1-card pull with it right now because I'm just that excited. We might even do a 3-card pull. Oh, did you hear that? The flipping? We'll do it one more time. So my absolute favorite, this deck is like it's a dream come true for me. Oh, it just sounds so good. I just absolutely 100% love this deck. I just can't even, like, I might cry off camera later because I'm so excited about it. Okay, enough of that. As you can see, it clearly rifles very well, and it's small enough where I think even people with smaller hands are going to be okay doing hand over hand. One of the only things I will say is because when the cardstock is new, I guess one of the things that's been recently brought to my attention, and it was brought to my attention by one of my cards, thank you cards, when cardstock is new, just be careful when you hand over hand about paper cuts. Paper cuts are a hazard, I have learned, but that's okay. Small price to pay. Small price to pay for an amazing, and this one popped out, small price to pay for an amazing deck. So anywho, we had a jumper, and we'll do bottom of the deck, and we'll do top of the deck as well to see what kind of a reading we get. Ooh, okay, so we got the Seven of Wands, Justice, and the Ace of Wands. So I don't know if you can see that. I will say, just because of the style of the deck, I think having at least a somewhat solid grasp on traditional Rider-Waite is probably a good idea. Only because and maybe you only self-readings with this, you guys, unless you run across another really nerdy, spooky kid. Reading with this one professionally, probably not the best idea on the whole entire planet. Especially where, if you're doing face-to-face readings, or if you're sending images over the internet. Maybe if you want to do, if this deck really speaks to you and you get really good readings, by all means read with it professionally. But if you're sending, if you're doing paid readings over the internet, maybe send a picture of a different deck, just because I don't think people will really, again, unless they grew up with this, I don't think it's really, the imagery is going to be really, it's not very, it's not a very, tarot is not very scary, because this is a very scary deck. But anyway, we've got the Seven of Wands, Justice, and the Ace of Wands. So what does this say? Seven of Wands is kind of taking the moral high ground and defending yourself, but I find it interesting that this Seven of Wands, the guy is kind of bound and he's got nothing to defend himself with, so that's very interesting. And then Justice here, usually you see Justice with empty scales, but here it's got a sword and a little skull there, and usually the scales, when you see Justice presented, the scales are balanced, and here they're a little not. And then you've got the Ace of Wands, which is a tree in the shape of a hand in a hand. So that's kind of interesting there. And Ace of Wands is usually fresh ideas and fire coming up. But you've got a lot of possibilities in the palm of your hand as far as ideas and creativity are concerned with the Ace of Wands. And then I am going to consult the Little White Book for the other two cards, just because I want to see what the book has to say. Okay, so where is Justice? It says fairness, order, authority, and self-importance. And then for the Seven of Wands, defiance, pride, and power over opposition, and madness. Weird that it would be madness. And I find that defiance and pride is really, I think that's kind of contradictory to what's being shown here, although he is kind of screaming in the face of the people that are about to run him through. So for this one, I would say don't let pride get in the way of you making good decisions and weighing your options. I think is kind of the overall reaching message for this. It's you've got some really awesome things going on here. You've got some new possibilities and whatnot coming your way, because that's just traditional Ace of Wand meanings. Let's see what he's got written down for that. So it does look like the meanings here are very traditional, which is nice to see. So for Ace of Wands, creation, birth, growth, and death. Weird that it would be death. And then for inverted, he's got ruin, decay, lack of control, and death again. But you've got you've got some new thing, there's new things and new opportunities, and you've got the whole world in the palm of your hand. But don't let your pride and defiance fuck it up. Like you've got maybe like there's a big decision or something going on here with the Justice card, but I think the overall reaching theme for this is like, again, don't let pride come before the fall. So that is a 3-card reading with the Ritual Abuse Tarot, and I hope you guys loved it as much as I did. It's definitely one to add to your collection. I forget how much I paid for it, but honestly, completely, totally worth it. Like, thank you, Mr. Sheffield, Ryan, for rekindling or at least reigniting the spark of love that I had for the scary stories. And thank you for the trip down memory lane. And more importantly, thank you so, so much for this awesome, like, in your face, like, go screw deck, because it's just so good. And thank you for like the wonderful, again, it's a wonderful thank you and homage to Stephen Gamble, and I'm sure he would just be absolutely, I don't know, is he still kicking around? I don't know if he's still alive or not. I'm actually gonna look that up real quick. Yeah, as far as I can tell, he's still alive. They don't have a you know, expiration date for him yet on Wikipedia, but just, I'm sure he would be absolutely proud to see your deck. I want to do, like, I would like to see what he had to say about it. I'm gonna have to research that. But anyway, thank you, Tarosphere, for listening to me ramble on and take my little trip down memory lane. And definitely check out this deck. It's one to add to your collection, especially if you're a spooky 80s, 90s kids like I was. Thanks. Bye.